for the introduction, Natalia. I'm very glad to be here, to see you. You are still here and listening and watching for the presentations, and I believe this is the biggest success of the organizers. Once again, thank you for coming, since we do know that these days a big mess is right next to our country in Syria, 100 kilometers from here. And actually, this is the reason to change a little bit slightly my presentation, but the key topics will be covered, and I will try to be on time. So, just to save time, since I'm the last presenter, I will skip all the thanksgiving to the organizers and so on. I will say it in person later on. So, let's come back to the topic of the presentation. I called it Mine Less and Craft More. Yes. And just to explain why we do believe that this is so important, and why we're using this kind of funny, let's say, illustrations, is very simple. This is the very scientifically important chart. So this is the average knowledge of the dinosaurs types in percentage. So when you are 8 years old, you know almost nothing, around 90%. When you graduate from the university, your knowledge is less than 20. And then you became expert again when you have 8 years old son, like I have at the moment. So, and I do believe that it's our duty and our responsibility to work on their future today, not even on ours. Because all the changes we just briefly, or very briefly, say, exchanged with you and discussed, most of the impact will be actually after 10, 15 years, when they will grow up, and then this will become their future. And that's why we are talking about responsibility. And we are able to choose this moment. What will be the future, with the black oil or green grass? How can I switch it? Yeah. So, coming back to our very strong beliefs is 175 petawatt of power falling to our small planet. And 1 hour of solar power is enough to cover full 1 year demand for the electricity. And we're talking about security, we're talking about control. And this is exactly what we see last, let's say, not days, last years. All the conflicts, let's say, the big military conflicts, they are coming from the attempt to control the source of the power. And at the moment, the source is oil and gas. If we get rid of this very strong, let's say, very strong depends on the fossil fuels. Just imagine, if we can create the distributed and very cheap and very easy to install and running for 20, 25, 30 years, maybe not huge, small solar installations around the globe, in Saqqara, in Syria, in Cyprus, in Russia, doesn't matter. We will get rid of this dependency. So we will be independent producers of energy for ourselves. Okay, there are plenty of different technologies, and the most important that in these cases we are using the renewable sources. So there is no other chances for the conflicts. We cannot compete for the sun. Okay, except maybe if we will have some artificial clouds created by new technology. But still. Look, what is your most disappointing moment of your day? Exactly this one, when you run out of battery and you cannot communicate, you cannot reach the cloud, you cannot send your selfie and upload it and share it with your Facebook friends. Now, there are plenty of very modern, very new technologies. Just a few examples. One is nanoelectric, the solar power self-charging work boots. Really, for the workers. And there is the GPS system, there is the notification system. There are plenty of, let's say, things based on electric power and depends on the electric power. And you have your own generator, just moving, stepping, moving around. Actually, what is the target for the scientifically, let's say, oriented institutions and so on? First, to reduce the power consumption for whatever, for mobile phones, for GPS trackers, for whatever, and increase, let's say, the charge speed. So you need less power to put into the battery, and you can use it for the longer time. Another one example, the mobile device, which charges from your moves as well. You are just walking. You have another one, small solar generator, and you are 100% independent. Means you're free. And now let's think about future, not so far from us, when we will have the artificial intelligence working for us, when we will have plenty of robots and so on and so on. Now imagine what energy will mean for them, for our, let's say, helpers. And of course we have plenty of very clean and very safe ways to generate, to store the power, and by the way, to get rid of the waste. For example, with the waste pyrolysis systems. We will speak maybe a bit more about this kind of technologies later on during the workshop, so you are warmly welcome to be there and to prepare your questions. Okay, this is the big future, when we will be able to collect the power from the space and transport it to our planet. So in this case, we will have 100% independence. So, conclusions. We still expect, and most of the experts at the market expect the meteoric rise of the electricity demand despite the effort to save the power, to reach the energy efficiency, whatever. Because, okay, look, data centers, they are growing up like mushrooms. And how we measure the capacity of the data centers, you know? In megawatts. That's it. It doesn't matter how many, you have processors there, semiconductors, whatever. You open the newspaper, we just open another 30 megawatt data center. That's it. So, the nature, we strongly believe that the nature should be our partner. And the future of the renewable energy sources is today. And actually, it's the effort not just of the people who are dealing with the installations, who are working with the governments and trying to make it more popular and to improve the technology to make it more viable, cheaper, more effective, and so on. But this is because each of us. I just mentioned that, okay, if you are creating the very nice and very modern data center for the blockchain, and you are willing to make the life better. But if you are using the electricity produced from the fossil fuels, from the other hand, you are destroying the planet. So just think about it. And, of course, control and control. We are talking about the security, whatever. So we have to be very careful to keep the control of the energy production and distribution and not to leave it in the, let's say, unsafe hands. So let us green our future today. Thank you very much. And I save for you 50 seconds.